Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire State Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time. WNDS Sports presents New England's favorite bowling show. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Featuring the best bowlers from around the region. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And now your hosts, Dick Lutz and Mike Moore.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV with Mike Moore, and it's week 2 of our 4th ladder series. Last week, we gave away a few bucks.
Gave away $1,000 in bonus money, including $900 to Gary Carrington for a triple strike. Today, 2 fan favorites are here. Gary Carrington, and it's been almost 4 years. Joe Tavernese returns.
Gary Carrington defeating Scott Bradish, 398 to 348 last week on his way. He collected $1,000 in bonus money, $900 for a triple strike, $50 for 3 more marks in a row, and $50 for having the high string in the match. It was quite a payday for Gary Carrington. And this week, he meets one of the best. Let's meet our bowlers. Last week's winner, our number 5 seed from Plastow, New Hampshire. Let's say hello to Gary Babe Carrington.
Gary Moneybags Carrington. Average 132, high single 196. His high triple is 499. And he does his bowling at Park Place Lanes and out of St. Joe's in Haverhill.
And of course, Gary, with a 683 in the roll-off, earned the number 5 seed. He and Scott Bradish were tied for that spot in the seedings, but Bradish had a 164 among his 5 strings, and Gary Carrington had a 161. Thus, the 5 seed to Carrington, the 4 seed to Bradish, the 3 seed to Joe Tavernese from Lynn, Massachusetts. Let's say hello to Joe.
Joe coming in with an average of 126. His high single is 207. High triple 484, and he bowls it where else? Metro Bowl in Peabody. Also bowls out of the Friday Pro League, and we saw him last in the Tournament of Champions 2000, Dick.
Joe had a 684 in the roll-off to earn the number 3 seed. 2 great bowlers going head-to-head. Let's get right to it. It's Gary Carrington and Joe Tavernese when we return to Leda Lanes for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV right after this.
There you see our 5 terrific bowlers in this ladder series. Number 5, Gary Carrington, defeating number 4, Scott Bradish last week, setting up this week's match with Joe Tavernese, with Jeff Surrett and Sean Baker waiting in the wings, and Gary Carrington will lead off this afternoon against veteran Joe Tavernese at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And we are underway, and that's a pretty good way to start. The 5-pin was surrounded at the end, had no choice but to go down.
398 triple for Gary Carrington last week, and you already know about the kind of bonus money he racked up for a triple strike.
525 in the triple strike jackpot starting this week. Gary just missed the head pin that time. We'll have $40 in our bonus ball jackpot after the match. We did not have a winner last week. Gary with 2 marks in a row to start out. So Gary puts the pressure on Joe Tavernese right away. Joe Tavernese, 49 years old, the manager of Metro Bowl.
And actually, by time folks are watching this, he will have hit 50.
There's Joe, right on the head pin. Right back at you, Gary Carrington. Strikes for both in the first. A little bit on the Brooklyn side that time of the head pin, but great shot by Joe Tavernese to match the Carrington strike. Joe looks for 2 in a row. There's the 7-pin still standing.
Got a clean shot at it. No wood on the deck. A couple pieces of wood in the gutter.
Missed it.
Trying to avoid, I'm sure, the pins that were in the gutter. Had he hit those pins first, would have been a dead ball.
And a 10 box. Gary Carrington, 44 years old. Gary's son Matt is here. I saw him earlier. Yep. Matt's a junior at UNH. That one got away from Gary, but look at this.
What's the problem? That looked like a good ball to me.
He puts 7 in the spare and has an opportunity for some bonus money right here.
Got some wood to help him out, Dick, because it's sleeper wood.
There it goes. 3 marks in a row, and Gary puts on a pretty good show after the fact with his body English. And watch it again. It kicked off the sideboard and took out the 8-pin. That's $50 for Carrington.
Already.
3 marks in a row to start out. And a good first ball. There they go. So Gary Carrington on fire starting out. 4 marks in a row. $75 in bonus money. Joe Tavernese needs to respond. And that ball got away from Joe, but he got a pretty good break on it.
I think Joe's got a little more velocity on his ball than last time we saw him.
Will it go? Joe will not get the break off the wall that Gary got. So Joe will be open for the 2nd box in a row.
But he's pinning well, so he just needs to keep up with that.
Up against a Carrington strike in the 4th frame. During the course of the match, we'll get to some of your cards and letters and emails that we've been accumulating since the last ladder series. This is the 4 horsemen on the left side for Joe Tavernese.
Manager of the Metro Bowl in Peabody. It's his home center, of course.
Oh, just missed the head pin. Can he get it on the rebound? No. So he's just missed. He could have 4 marks in a row as well.
Instead, he's going to be close to 30 pins behind after 4 frames.
He had 4 makeable spares, made 1 of them. Actually, a strike in the 1st frame for Joe was the only mark he converted. The other 3 were makeable shots. Not easy to be sure, but makeable. Gary Carrington hasn't missed. Strike, spare, spare, strike. Another ball right on the head pin. They continue to fall. That's the 6 pin that's still standing with a piece of wood frozen to it. And a piece of wood rolling over. Is it going to get in the way, or is it going to keep on rolling out of the way? It'll keep on rolling into the gutter.
And you got that piece of wood that kind of serves as a guide. If you miss it a little bit to the left, it'll take you right back to the 6 pin.
He missed it. And you saw the hands go to the head right away. He knew he missed it as soon as it left his hand. And a 10 box, an 86 half for Gary Carrington. He had 100 half.
He had a slow start last week, Dick, and then all of a sudden, oh, you know what, broke loose. This week he's starting out like a ball of fire.
One's going to miss the head pin, and look at all the action he gets, even when he misses the head pin.
We better check the weight of those balls, Dick.
Man, oh man. Got the 7 and the 8 with a couple of pieces of wood out there. He'll play the right side of that front wood, left side of the front wood, and he'll make the shot. Wow, Gary Carrington making shots.
Putting on a clinic today for us.
He did not play it the way I thought he would play it. He played it off the wood. He played it perfectly, and he got the kick off the wall and got the 7 pin cleaned out. 5 marks in 6 boxes for Gary Carrington. Joe Tavernese, another spare opportunity.
Talking to Joe before we began today, as we mentioned, he just turned 50 on the 16th of January, making him eligible now for the Senior Professional Candlepin Bowling Association. Got to be 50 years of age to participate in that. We have some results now. These are, you know, a couple months old, but probably you haven't heard. Dennis Olofsson won the stop at Leo's Super Bowl in Amesbury, Mass. For the 6:35 5-game set. And Charlie Jutras came in 3rd. There's a name that we all remember. Who else, Dick, made the list here? Ed Zernicke came in 4th. His dad, Tony Zernicke, is here today. Hawk Hallis came in at number 8. Steve Adney, number 11. Gary Duffett, number 12. These are names, bowlers you've seen on our show who are now over 50 and participating in the Pro Tour for seniors.
Another spare opportunity by the boards for Joe. That was a makeable shot. He had a piece of wood that was set up nicely for it, and he was not able to convert. Gary Carrington, 5 marks in 6 boxes, working on a spare.
Well, we put a microphone up at the scoring table, Dick, where the bowlers sit, but they've been pretty quiet so far.
Gary hits the head pin again and puts 6 in the mark. And another opportunity. Missed the head pin, missed the object pin, and will not spare.
25
Mark
pin lead.
Saccott of East Boston, Massachusetts sent us an email, Mike. That will be a 9 box for Gary's at 111. Mark Saccott writes, I've been watching bowling for about 25 of my 29 years of being alive, and I've watched many a show from the original Channel 5 bowling with Don Gillis to the Candlepin for Cash and Candlepin Super Bowl, and was very curious of knowing what the highest 3-string triple was for any bowler who was bowling on TV. As far as I can recall, the highest 3 he remembers was a little over 500, recorded by Peter Flynn. If there were any scores higher than that, he'd be curious to find out. Any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Do we know of anything higher?
Well, on our show, as far as I know, Dick, and we've only been here, this is our 7th season, we know there has not been a 500 triple since we have been doing the show, and I don't think there was prior to us taking over. I think 500 has not been hit on the Candlepin Stars and Strike series, which is, you know, what, 20 years old now. We know that Paul Berger had a 500 triple on Channel 5, and I'm sure there have been others. But if anybody cares to send any information on that, we will pass it along to the viewer who wrote.
Yeah, he wrote Peter Flynn. I think it was Paul Berger that had the high triple on.
I don't think it's the all-time high. It was the most recent 500, I think. But to Peter Flynn, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he had 500. He was one of the great bowlers. For those who don't know, Peter Flynn suffered an aneurysm about 10, 12 years ago and left the game, moved out of state, and hope that he and his family are doing well.
So Joe missed a spare the last box. He had a 9-pin drop and a piece of wood well out in front and was not able to convert. Now he has the 7-10, and he missed the piece of wood in the middle. So Joe has had some opportunities to mark and not taken advantage of the opportunities. Now waiting for a ball to return.
Throwing the ball well, but
he hasn't left a pin standing.
No, but he probably
going to be the
here.
first time. Yeah. 9 box. 96 through 8. Gary Carrington is piling on here in the first string. Gary has 6 marks in 8 boxes. He's at 121 plus a ball. That's a good ball. It's a 9-pin drop.
Something nearly took out the 4-pin, but stayed in the gutter. I think it might have been the 1 or the 2-pin. Single spare, no wood to worry about. Clean shot.
He's right there. 7th mark of the string for Gary Carrington. Outrageous.
Won the Tournament of Champions in 1998, defeating Rob Burkeel. Won the Tournament of Champions in 2001, including a hit of $1,300 for a triple strike on that day as well.
Right on the head pin and straight through. Gary knew it. It's one of those reactions you can see from Gary. He knew he was in trouble, that the ball was too full on the head pin.
Gary did make the Tournament of Champions this past season as the number 6 seed. He beat Bob Whitcomb and Chris Bovair, then lost to Mike Morgan. So he didn't win that one, but he's won 2 others so far.
155 first string for Gary Carrington. Not too shabby. Joe Tavernese, a mountain to climb.
Well, he could put about a 130 on the board here with a couple of marks. That will be tough to do with that.
Got the 6 and the 7 with no wood to help out. All of the wood that was on the deck, there was a bunch, it all rolled off. Oh, he almost made the shot. He gave it a run, didn't he? And that will be a 10 box for Joe. He's at 106. Needs a mark to get to 120 to keep it within sight. A little thin on the head pin, and look at this.
But he's got a little help with that pin wedged against the 10 over in the right-hand corner.
Still a tough shot. Got to get something over there to take that out. 114. $115 for Joe Tavernese in the first string. A 40-pin lead for Gary Carrington over Joe Tavernese after one. We're headed for number 2 when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Gary Carrington and Joe Tavernese, string number 2, with Carrington leading by 40 pins, 155 to 115. Joe Tavernese first to bowl. That was a funny hit, wasn't it?
Punched it out. Leaves the 2, the 6, the 7, and the 10 with some random wood out there.
Not enough random wood, unfortunately.
Nope.
The Rockin' Bowl is coming up February 29th.
It is indeed, Dick, and this is an annual fundraiser for the kids who bowl at Pilgrim Lanes to have an opportunity to spend a weekend in Canada to bowl an international tournament. Coming up Sunday, February 29th from 9 to 1, Pilgrim Lanes donates all the lineage, the time, everything for the bowlers to meet and mingle with folks who want to come and bowl with them, pay a little money to bowl with them, to meet them, get their autographs, and then to help the kids get to Canada so the parents don't have to reach into their pockets for everything. It's Sunday the 29th at Pilgrim Lanes on Primrose Street in Haverhill, and boy, I tell you what a great lineup of bowlers, again, including this man right here. Babe Carrington will be there, as will Mike Morgan. Joanne Rosano, you saw her in the mixed doubles this year. Joe Tavernese, who is also here today. Dave and Beth Richards. Gary Angelotti. Also Jackie Ray, Jeff Bagia, Mary Wall, and there's more we'll tell you about as we go along. And Dick, you and I have a date on the lanes for our 5th annual grudge match. After 4 years, we're tied at 2 each.
I wonder whether you'll show up.
I haven't missed one of these, Dick. You can bet I'll be there.
Gary Carrington with a mark after Joe Tavernese put a mark on the board.
So you're going to actually use your own bowling balls this year.
I am.
In the past, you've used bowling balls of one of the greatest bowlers ever, Stacia Zernicki.
Tony has donated them, yes, and I have my own, and I'm going to make my mark with them. Here's Gary Carrington with a bullet for a strike. You just don't throw a ball any better than that.
That went down in record time, didn't it?
Watch it again. Watch how fast they go down. There they go. All of them on the lane. You know, they just all stayed on the lane and started mixing. Joe puts a deuce in his spare with a half Worcester. Joe's got to be feeling it now. It ain't his day, he's got to be thinking to himself. And that's going to be a 6 box, I think. Yep, the piece of wood didn't have enough force to knock anything over. So even with the mark, he's at 28 through 3 boxes.
And there's 5. The 1, 2, 5, 7, and 9. One piece of wood in the middle of it all, which could be helpful. We'll see Jeff Surratt next week. Our runner-up today, $375. The second seed, Jeff Surratt, awaits today's winner of the match.
Nice 10 box for Joe that time as he managed to salvage the 10.
Okay, babe, we didn't see that second one. That first one.
All right, Gary Carrington started with spare strike. He started his first string with 4 marks in a row. He was off the head. He was right on the head pin, a little full, but he broke up the split. The 6 and the 10 went. Gives him another spare opportunity. You've got the 2 and the 4 with no wood to help out. This is a $50 shot right here. And he'll miss it.
You will have a chance to meet and bowl with Gary Carrington at Rockin' Bowl on the 29th at Pilgrim Lanes.
That's a 10 box.
All these bowlers, Dick, you'll agree, very approachable. They'll take as much time as is needed to meet you, take a picture with you, sign an autograph. They're good people. Well, there's a tough one and a split for Gary Carrington, who's not seen a whole lot of that today. 3-6 over on the right, 4-7 and 8 on the left. Wow.
I want to acknowledge a couple of emails we received. Mike Charles Cardillo from Weymouth, Massachusetts sent us an email, and Kurt Levesque asks a couple of questions that are pretty interesting. And there's a $10 for Gary. We're going to go to the break. We'll come back with the questions from Kurt Levesque after the break, with Gary Carrington in the lead over Joe Tavernese. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's WNDS-TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Joe Tavernese finds himself in a bit of a rut. He trails Gary Carrington by 61 pins as we near the halfway point of our three-string match. But as Gary Carrington turned it on in the first string, Joe is very capable of turning it on from this point on. And we've seen pins eaten up quickly in the past.
Told me he's having a really good season so far.
Threw a great ball there and didn't make the spare. We mentioned before the break that we received an email from Kurt Levesque. Kurt writes that we said that Don Gillis was actually 73 years old when the old Channel 5 Boston Bowling Show ended in 1996, making him 80 at the end of 2003. Actually, the show ended on January 27, 1996, which would most likely make him 81 by the end of 2003. He'd most likely turn 82 in 2004. By the way, Mike, he writes, as Joe Tavernese puts another 10 on the board.
No, that's a spare.
That's a spare?
Yep.
Okay. A little personal stuff here for you, Mike, as Kurt Levesque writes. Gary Carrington, another great first ball. Mike, I heard that you used to work at McDonald's while you were in college. Where was the McDonald's?
It was in Warren, Michigan, which is just outside of Detroit. Nowhere around here. But I have to tell you.
How did you know that?
You know, I may have mentioned it in passing, possibly on my radio show at WZID.
That's right. You do have a radio show on WZID, don't
It's
you?
my day job. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, one of the most famous customers I ever waited on was John DeLorean.
Oh, no kidding.
It was right across from the General Motors Tech Center, which is the big research
Did
center.
he drive one of his cars into the lot?
No, it was before the DeLorean days and before he had trouble with the law. This was 1970 when his hair was still black.
DeLorean was also famous for ski grooming machines.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Didn't realize that.
They used to be DeLoreans.
So he would come in from time to time and have lunch back when a Big Mac was 55 cents and a shake was a quarter.
And he was a big spender, huh?
Yeah, he certainly was. He didn't tip very well, as I recall.
That'll be a $9 for Gary.
A chance for Joe to make a little ground back here.
Well, if he can string a few marks together, it would certainly put him back in the race a little bit. And there's one. A backdoor strike for Joe Tavernese. He'll take it.
Even though he did hit the head pin, the pins did fall in backward order, as you'll see here on the instant replay. The 6 into the 3.
Wasn't pretty, and then right out there goes right there.
Pretty doesn't count in bowling, does it?
2 marks in a row for Joe. He needs another one. That's a pretty one.
Oh, my. It's a new ball game and a $525 ball coming up for Joe Tavernese in the next box.
He's got 50. That's 3 marks in a row. Now he's looking for 525 more on top of that. So he launches himself right back into the match.
You knew he wasn't going to go quietly.
Gary Carrington, he responds, doesn't he?
Well, it was like the first frame of last game when they both struck. First Gary and then Joe. As a kiss, the 5 is down.
Gary just responds to the pressure, doesn't he? Look at this. And he shows himself to the crowd. Well, what a great response.
Interesting situation developing here.
Yeah. Both bowlers with a shot at 3 in a row. Now $525 on the line for Joe Tavernese. Good ball. He threw a great ball.
Right in the pocket, Dick. Right where you want it to be.
And the wood is rolling away and out of play.
Sad thing for Joe is he gained no ground with that double, because Gary Carrington matched it.
Look at this for a 10 box. That's a pretty decent 10 box, isn't it?
Nicely done.
He's at 124, and you're right, he did not pick up a pen.
In fact, he might even fall behind, depending on what Carrington does in the ninth.
Well, Gary knows there's $525 they're waiting for him. It was going to be $500. Worst case, it would have been $500 even if Joe made it.
Well, we've never seen anybody do it in back-to-back weeks. In fact, it's never happened more than once or twice in a season.
Joe waiting for a ball to come back from the return. Here they come. Joe will finish with a 133 in the second string, a two-string total of 248 for Joe Tavernese. Gary Carrington is working on a double strike, and he's looking for $525 for 3 strikes in a row. He hit the triple strike jackpot last week for $900. Wouldn't this be something? Watch it and enjoy. Well, he threw it right at the head pin. A little bit too full.
So Carrington, or Joe Tavernese, does make a little bit of ground back.
Look at this. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable. Watch it again. That pin's going to come scooting all the way across. It kicks the 4. And then the 7. Wow. $50 shot for Gary Carrington right there.
And Joe doesn't make any ground back like it looked like he might. This is going to be a 150 and maybe a 160 plus game for Carrington.
That's another spare. He's at 157 plus a ball. That's another $25. So he's got $150 in bonus money. 7 marks in the string.
He won $1,000 last week in bonus money. What a run Gary Carrington is enjoying.
That'll be a 6 in the spare and a 163 second string, a 2-string total of 318 for Gary Carrington.
I'll take that for 3.
And a 70-pin lead over Joe Tavernese, heading for string number 3. We're coming back to Leda Lanes in Nashua right after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. There's Gary Carrington. Don't touch him. He's on fire. A 155 first string, which ain't too shabby, followed by a 163 second string, which is a little bit better.
Yeah, going in the right direction.
Think you'll find the range before the day is over?
Well, let's put it this way. He needs 182 for 500. We're talking about 500, Dick?
Wouldn't that be something? Well, he'll start off with an open frame for the first time in this match. And it's a 10 box.
7 WCBC titles through the 02-03 season, and to date, Pro Bowler of the Year 1993-94, winner of 2 of our Tournament of Champions, participating in a couple of others that he did not win. And darn near a strike again. The Kingpin, number 5 remaining, all by itself with no wood on the deck.
And there's Gary with a mark. So it didn't take him long to get back on track. Last series we received an article, and I'm not sure that this isn't the same article. I think it's from a different person. I hope it is. It's possible that I put it back in my bag again and brought it back a second time. I've done that before. John Kelly from Lowell, Massachusetts, encloses an old article, but it hasn't been talked about this season, and you know what it deals with, don't you?
I do not.
Joe Tavernese.
Oh,
Webster Lake.
Put
This
that
is an
away.
article out of the Lowell Sun.
Check the date on that. That's an old
June
story.
2000.
Oh, that recent?
June 2000. So it's all about Webster Lake and the name of the lake, and we've talked about it ad infinitum.
Right. Now, I want you to take that, put it in the circular
That's
file.
going right there.
So you don't bring it up next month when our next taping.
Thank you, John, for sending it in. John Kelly of Lowell, Massachusetts.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Lake Chugga-Lugga-Lugga-Lugga-Lugga.
Get my partner started on this every time.
Here's Joe Tavernese.
There you go. $70 pins behind. Wow.
That's how it's going to be for you.
Don't get stupid, okay? If you do beat me, it won't be by 70 pins. And if it is, I'll be your slave for the next month.
Remember that, folks. Oh, nice shot by Gary Carrington. Boy, could he make shots. One of the finest shot makers in the game.
Pleasure to watch, for sure. The way it's going, you'll probably be seeing him next week with Jeff Surratt waiting in the wings.
Another 5-pin fill. That's 2 5s in spares for Gary Carrington. Just makes it more of a challenge for him to convert the spare.
Actually made that, didn't he? Or a very similar spare here last game. 3-6 remain.
And a 10 box. Joe has earned $50 in bonus money thus far in this match. Like to see him get some more. Missed the head pin. 4 horsemen right side. The 1, the 3, the 6, the 10. Just picked the 3-pin.
Dick, you posed the question last week, were there any other big money tournaments similar to the Easter Sunday $5,000 first prize tournament here at Leda Lanes? And we asked Joe Tavernese that. Just curious, because he certainly is more plugged into the bowling community than we are, and he says none that he is aware of that offers that kind of bang for your buck. And there is word that there will be a similar formatted tournament here at Leda Lanes this June for women.
Which is great.
Yep. Don't know if it'll be $5,000, but I guess with enough bowlers, it's possible.
Whatever it is, it's a start, and it'll grow.
Hope everybody enjoyed the mixed doubles that we had that ended 2 weeks ago.
10 box for Joe Tavernese. We go to the break, and it's a 75-pin lead for Gary Carrington over Joe Tavernese. Heading down the home stretch with Carrington way in front. We're coming back to Leda Lanes in Nashua after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. As Gary Carrington stepping to the line on lane 34 at Leda Lanes. Candlepin Stars and Strikes presented by the Tri-State Megabucks and the games of the New Hampshire Lottery. And the Thompson family of dealerships, McMullican Chevrolet, Nashua Mitsubishi, Nashua Hyundai, and Nashua Cadillac in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Some of the bowlers that did not make this latter series but did fairly well include Anthony Pastore. He was in 6th place, so he just missed the cut by, well, 20 pins, but still he was in 6th place. Bruno DeFeo was also up there very well in 10th place, was Bob Betancourt. Gary Santora, another favorite here at Leda Lane. Scott Creighton was 12th. Bobby Whitcomb tied for 12th with Scott Creighton. And they're two good buddies, so they pulled the same. Steve Vadney, who you saw not long ago in the mixed doubles, 14th place. Deb Regan, who is always here bowling with the guys, hoping to one of these days make the show. And you know what? She will. She was 27th. And you may have noticed, Dick, that the qualifying scores were within 13 pins from top to bottom. Sean Baker at 696, and then Gary Carrington and Scott Bradish at 683. So it was very, very competitive this time around.
Well, Gary almost had another mark. He punched it through that time. And he'll take a 10 box.
Being harassed by some of his friends here.
The pressure's certainly off at this stage of the game.
That's
It's
for
just
sure.
kind of playing out the string.
Well, he's at 395 already with 4 boxes to go. Think he'll hit 400?
Blindfolded. Joe Tavernese, can he make the spare? Yes, he will.
Boy, he's throwing the ball well, but he just ran into a buzzsaw today.
Not getting a lot of breaks.
No, he's still bowling a little under his average, but I like how he's throwing the ball. Look at that. Look at that. 4-7-10.
Played the wood, just kept the ball on the alley long enough to play the wood on the left side. Just caught it before it went off. And 2 marks in a row. And Gary Carrington just continues to make shots. This is the 5, the 9, and the 10. And the way the wood is set up, this is a makeable shot. No, he didn't make it. I thought it was going to go.
He spoiled us. We think he's going to make everything.
No, I thought that was set up to go, but it just didn't go. It's a 9 box and an 86 for Gary Carrington with 3 boxes remaining. So the intensity level has declined a little bit for Gary, and that's understandable. And here's a strike. I guess he picks up the intensity level whenever he needs.
Well, the thought of getting another triple strike for that quick, fast money is always tempting, I'm sure.
This one a little bit thin. They didn't all go at once, as you can see. Now Joe Tavernese looking for some bonus money here. Can he break the split? Tough shot. Keeps the piece of wood halfway on the alley on the right side, halfway in the gutter. He's got to play that wood. And look for a ricochet. Oh, my goodness gracious. That pin went flying across the alley and left the 4-pin standing.
So he maintains a razor-thin 3-pin lead, at least in this string. But now in the 8th frame, he'll be up against a Carrington strike.
Makeable spare for Joe Tavernese. The groan of the crowd tells you the story. 98 for Joe. Gary working on a strike. Gary's thinking bonus money. That's Gary's.
Of course he is. We know Gary, don't we?
Train of thought right now.
Can't blame him.
Right on the head pin. Can he break the split? He's got a tough shot. He's got the 3, 6, 10 on the right, the 7-pin on the left. Does he play the wood, Mike? Take a shot at it?
I don't think so. I think the wood is too far behind the object pin. Well, he's going to do it.
He went for the wood, and he hit it. He capped it.
Got to go with what he thought. He's closer to the pins and certainly more experienced than we are. But it didn't work out.
Watch this. Is he going to take it? Nope. Too far in front. 9 box. 111. He's already at 414. Well, he threw that one away.
He hasn't had many bad shots today, has he?
Hasn't missed a head pin many times at all.
Well, he's at 429 already.
And he'll be open in the 10th frame. He's at 119. 121 for Gary Carrington. A 439 triple. Joe Tavernese finishing up. 439, and Gary made $150 in bonus money and another $50 for having the high string in the match, and Joe finishes with a mark and the 9th. Missed the head pin, put 6 in the strike, and the spare rather. He'll win the third string. Maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, he's tied right now.
Yeah.
I'll need one pin to win it.
And he gets the one pin. A 122 third string for Joe Tavernese to Gary Carrington's 121, but Carrington wins the match by 69 pins. 439 to 370. We'll come back to meet our bowlers when we return to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV.
Gary Carrington defeats Joe Tavernese. The final score 439 to 370. Will hand Joe Tavernese the runner-up money, $375 in bonus money, $50 in bonus money, and 370 used to be considered a pretty good score, you know, and then to lose by 69 pins, that's kind of wacky.
Now, Babe was he was throwing right from the start. He was throwing the ball awesome. He didn't stop either. He goes, even the second string, I come back, I threw the double strike, which could have been a turning point on my side, and he came right back up and threw a double right at me, which took it right back out of me again, you know, so he threw the ball well.
The very first 4 boxes of the match in the first string, when he threw 4 marks and you had 1 strike and an opportunity at 3 others to match him, and you weren't able to convert. Right. That kind of set you back a little bit right at the beginning.
It did. Yes, it did. That's when someone comes out on you like that, you're either going to stay with them. You know, I fell behind early, and it was playing catch-up the whole time, and you can't do that. It's tough.
Joe, we hadn't seen you in about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
It's good to have you back. Sorry it was only for 1 week.
That's all right.
Anyway, since I saw you last, it appears you're throwing the ball a little bit harder, which, you know, when you turn 50, I thought you're supposed to slow down a little. What's going on?
I haven't turned 50 yet, though. That's the thing.
Well, actually, as folks watch this, you are 50, Joe.
No, 49.
No, but as people watch this is past your birthday.
No, 49 will be.
Oh, you'll be 49. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I rushing it by a year?
Yes, you are. It's only because you want me to catch up to you. That ain't going to happen. I got a ways to go.
That's true. Yeah, I got you.
We're trying to make an old man out of you. You know, he doesn't want his AARP card yet.
My apologies to you.
That's all right.
Anyway, you're going to sign up with the Senior Pro Tour, I would imagine, take advantage of that.
Next year I will, yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely. I hope everybody else that's with me that's turning that age will do the same thing, and we can make it a big tournament.
There you go.
Yeah, make it very
Joe, of course, is the manager at Metro Bowl in Peabody, and the state of Candlepin bowling. You're one of the guys that's really close to the scene and know what's going on around northern New England and the Canadian Maritimes. What is the state of bowling right now?
I think it's doing pretty good. We had a time there where it went down for a while, but you have to work at it hard, you know. And if everybody, you know, all us bowlers and even, you know, all the average bowlers just stay competitive and just keep the goal, especially the TV. You got to keep TV going. That's a big factor. You know, people have to see it on TV. If you don't see this on TV, you know, it gets out of people's minds, you know, and then they forget about it. So, but I think if you work hard at it, each place individually, you know, everybody has their own house. If they work at it, it's coming back, you know.
What are you doing to bring the kids into it?
The kids, they just watch, you know, they see what we do on TV, and that's what they want to do, you know. They want to come up. There's a lot of competitions out there for the children, and there's a lot of good bowlers out there, too. So when they see what we're doing and what we can make on TV money-wise, I mean, they want to do the same thing, you know, so.
And you're doing a variation of atomic bowling or globe bowling? Or?
Yeah, so yeah, we do that, too, at the Metro Bowl. We have this, we call it cosmic bowling, but it's a lot of fun. It's a big thing, you know, these days, and we do a lot of birthday parties.
Mike, you're a very cosmic guy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I don't know how old anybody is, but anyway. Well,
I got to say one thing though, because my uncle Dominic, he says he always tells me he's the one. He taught me everything I know, but he told me if I lose not to say nothing. But I got to tell him if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. So I wanted to mention that.
All right,
Uncle Dominic.
All right, Joe. Thanks very much. Congratulations.
Great to see you.
We'll see you again. Right, Joe Tavernese.
Also, too, it's my daughter's birthday today, January 6th. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 27 years old.
As we tape.
All right. Did you get everything in there, Joe? Get all the plugs in?
I think so.
All right, Joe Tavernese, our runner-up here this afternoon, and now Gary Carrington will do the bonus ball contest, and Mike Moran will draw a card out of the bin, and we'll see if we can match it up with a winner at home. $40 in the bonus ball jackpot. Let's see if we can find a winner. Grab one, Michael, and let's see what we got. This is Ms. Rosemary Lyons of Norfolk, Massachusetts, and babe, she wants you to get an 8. Can we give her $40 if we can get an 8 from Gary Carrington, and Rosemary Lyons is banking on Gary, and she's looking for $40 if we can get an 8. Oh. There's that 7. It's a 7. It's a consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts. Gary, come on right over
it's
here.
It's only an hour show, Gary. Come on.
And let's see. Gary had $150 in bonus money and $50 for having the high string in the match. That's $200 to go with the grand you had last week. So it's a couple of pretty good weeks. You talked about the head pin last week and how you were on the head pin last week. You seem to be on it again this week. You didn't miss it, I don't think, until the very end of the match when the match was really over. So when you're locked in, Does it take much concentration to stay there?
Oh, yeah. Concentration, that's a good 90% of the game, I think. You know you can do it, and the ball was rolling good. Joe, he come up there and threw a double at me. I know if he keeps going, he can run it right out, and I was lucky enough to follow that. So I had a good match.
We told folks during the match today, coming up on 29th of February is the annual Rock and Bowl, which you've been a member of every year that I can remember since the early 90s. This is where folks can come out and actually meet the bowlers and talk to you personally. It must be a lot of fun for you guys to meet and mingle with your fans.
Yes, doing that Rock and Bowl is really good. It's awesome. Awesome for the kids, and the pros like it. We all come down. We support it. Bart Medeiros is doing a great job with the Pilgrim Lanes kids. It's awesome. Totally, it's great.
All right, that's Sunday the 29th, leap year day in February, Dick.
Looking forward to it. Gary, congratulations. See you next week.
All right, tough one,
Gary
Jeff
Carrington. Next week, we climb the ladder one more rung.
Jeff Surratt, last year's Tournament of Champions winner and one of the greatest young rising stars, will take on the grizzled veteran, Gary Carrington.
With Sean Baker waiting in the wings 2 weeks down the road. That'll do it for this afternoon as Gary Carrington defeats Joe Tavernese, the final 439 to 370. For Mike Morin and our entire crew, I'm Dick Lutzk at Leader Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Thanks for watching, everybody. And remember, when you and the kids are looking for something to do, let's go bowling. We'll see you next time.